What up? Welcome to the Too Tall Sports Podcast. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to check me out on Instagram at Too Tall Sports Podcast. Let's get it. What's up, guys? Back again for another episode of the Too Tall Sports Podcast. I have some special guests today, Sam and Tommy Collaro. They're the owners of Bases Loaded West Coast, which is a baseball and softball training facility in good old Petaluma, Northern California. So, hell yeah. Thank you guys for being on. I appreciate it.
For sure. Thanks for having us.
All right. So I'll just give a little introduction on both of them. Sam went to the University of Arizona with me, and she played softball there for the two-time national champion softball team for the Wildcats. And Tommy was drafted in 2001 for the White Sox, and he had a long minor league career and also played indie ball, which I did too. So that was cool to find that out as well. So I guess first, kind of, how did your guys' story a little bit from the background? How did you guys meet? Just kind of a brief overview of who you guys are.
Okay, so I obviously played softball at Arizona, and Tommy played for the White Sox, and that was back when the White Sox actually were in Tucson. I think I met him at a house party, and now we have 3 children, and the rest is history.
There you go.
It may not have been exactly like that.
I mean, I might have gotten married in between that time, but
that's right.
We're back. Yeah, so, it started like that, and now we're doing that together, doing that whole baseball softball thing.
Gotcha. Okay. And Sam, you're from Petaluma originally, right?
Yeah, born and raised in Petaluma. Then I went and played at Arizona, and then, they always say you go back to your hometown. So here I am, and then Tommy's actually from Florida, so I got him to move out here almost 5 years ago.
Okay. You like it better in California than Florida?
It's tough, living.
Absolutely not.
I like to fish, so we live about 15 minutes from the ocean, so it's hard to compare. I know there's an ocean out here, but it's definitely not the same.
Right. Okay. I gotcha. That's awesome. So I want to go into Sam real quick. When you were at U of A, you got to play for one of the best coaches in the country, one of the more renowned ones, Coach Candrea. And what was that like playing for him?
I mean, it's kind of hard to put into words what it's like to play for him, because the whole time you're just like trying to, like, you get there as a freshman, you're obviously, what it's like to be a college freshman, like everything's so new to you. And then you come from this, you're going into this prestigious program, and you're a freshman, and I was a recruited walk-on freshman, so it was like everything was so overwhelming. And then Coach Candrea just has a way of just making you feel like you're absolutely like the greatest softball player that ever was in that moment, maybe during a game, but in practice, definitely trying to get the best out of you. I mean, I think any good coach just has a way to communicate things with players quicker and relate to them. As I'm sure you're aware, you get along with certain coaches and they seem to bring out the best in you, and he was just able to bring out the best in literally everyone. I mean, there's a reason why he produced 5 All-Americans every year since the beginning of 1991 when they first started winning. Like, that's pretty unheard of to do. So to take a program that wasn't successful to making it to I think every class won 3 national championships up until 2001 since 1991. So that's saying something about him and what he does. But he also had a way of like making you feel like, especially as a female, like he was an Italian man. So, Italian guy, and he was older. So he made you feel like really protected and like you were part of his family, and never weird or anything like that. Just always like he held you to this high standard, expected you to be this like good representation of yourself. And I'll never forget, I had a problem with spitting and cussing, and he was like, "When are you gonna be a girl?" I looked at him, I said, "What?" He's like, "Do you have to spit that much?" I'm like, "I have extra saliva, I can't help it."
You're
like,
a ball player.
I know. I'm like, "I don't know, I'm sorry." He's like, "And if I hear one more swear word coming out of your mouth," I'm like, so, I mean, he was just always trying to hold you to that standard. And I definitely get it now as a parent, as a coach, why he was the way he was. And I respect it even more. He definitely was that old school way, never babied us, would be the first one to get in your face or yell at you or telling you weren't doing it right, or just cutting off practice all together, but at the end of the day, he would come up and give you a hug, give you a kiss on the cheek, and be like, "I love you, but you pissed me off today." That's what you want. That's what you want in a coach.
Right. Definitely. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, Tommy, you had some similar experiences too going through your career. You had, I'm sure, good and bad coaches in the minors as well. But I was going to ask you about so you got drafted out of high school, right?
Yeah.
And did you have any college offers that you were seriously considering?
So when I got drafted out of high school, I was like every average 17-year-old cocky baseball player.
Yeah.
I thought I was going higher in the draft than I did. And I actually signed the last high school game, my senior year, obviously the last game of the year, I signed on the back of the dugout to a junior college, basically an hour away. And ended up getting drafted late in the 27th round. Didn't go, so I went to junior college for a year, and then I left after that. So it was funny. Had some talks with Mississippi State, was interested in them, was going to go up there for a visit. But other than that, I really didn't visit any colleges or go see anywhere. I was just had a different mindset of just going out of high school, getting drafted, and that's kind of what it was back when I came out in 2001 down in South Florida. I think we had 27 guys that year out of high school within like a 50-mile radius.
Wow.
A little different baseball, I think, down there too. Like even from here, Northern California, like him moving here, it's baseball. When you play it in Florida, like you're playing to be a professional baseball player. Kids are playing it here just to have fun, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just a different way to play.
Well, guys in Southern California get a little taste of that, but I was in Fort Lauderdale, which is a half an hour north of Miami. So you get a Latin feel for how baseball is. You're playing against Cubans, Dominicans, all these different guys from the islands, not necessarily the age they say they are, but
right.
I didn't mind any all that. I want a good competition. That's how I was. So like in our league, our district, good competition, which also brought pro and college scouts out to the game. At any given high school game, no matter who you are, you're going to see a couple pro scouts in South Florida, which is cool, but it puts a little pressure on yourself. But that's what we aim for down there, to be professional baseball players at an early age.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Southern California is great baseball. I'm sure that's right. But all the Florida kids are always really good, from what I've seen just in my travels through baseball. So definitely very competitive down there. When you guys came together, how did you decide on starting a business that evolved? And when your careers are done, you're just like, I want to be a coach. How did you guys come to that?
I actually obviously we're still in I'm in Petaluma still.
Right.
He moved here, so I was giving like private lessons out on a field, and then it just kind of evolved from there. Like started renting out a space at another facility, and this space became available, and this guy was trying to get me to run his softball side, like develop the softball side. And Tommy was like, no, like F that. You don't need him. Why don't you just do it on your own? And so we started dating again when he was working out of high school, and he ended up having the summer off. And I was like, well, if we're going to do this, like, and see if this is going to work long distance, like at the end of the day, you got to come live here for the 3 months of the summer. And so I was coaching teams, and him and I were both giving lessons, and we're like, okay, like, this is easy for us. It's not something that's like coming hard. Like he was coaching with me, we were giving lessons together. And so he was like, you know what, I'm going to come back. And then he did. And so it's just kind of taken off from there. Like I told him, I said, baseball needs a guy like you up here. Like it's hard. The game has changed so much. It's become so soft, so like politically correct, which I understand those things, maybe needed to evolve. But sometimes it's like, nobody wants to step up and like tell a kid when he's not doing something correctly. And Tommy's the perfect guy for that. Our kids are younger still. We don't have anybody here. He's actually been there and played. So it's just kind of evolved from there. And now we own our own facility. Obviously, we're going through what everybody else is going through with this COVID-19 thing. Like,
Yeah.
What the hell are we going to do? But we've been fortunate. Our landlord's been understanding. But there does come a point where it's like, you can't keep racking up all this debt. So what do? You just close down and then maybe build something on your own property and pay your own taxes. Who knows?
Yeah, I know it's hard. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tommy.
Oh, you could say something.
Yeah.
No, it's tough just because at the point of me coming here, I was working at a high school. I was a baseball coach. I was giving lessons at a facility. I was on the field 7 days a week being single. So it wasn't a big thing. I mean, that transition I thought was going to be a lot easier for me to go to California and do the baseball side as far as her going to Florida. It's a different culture, but it's still the same game. I still teach the same way as I would in Florida.
Right.
It's just I'm not the guy who's going to juice you up and tell you you're the best. and that may suck from time to time being a business guy, right? Sometimes you may hear some stuff you don't want to, and you're going to lose a customer. But I'd rather give them the truth straight off the bat than just, crush their dreams and be the dad's shortstop their whole life.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. And some kids definitely need to be told, like their parents are just going to tell them they're amazing and blah, blah, blah. But your parents can only take you so far. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with not being able to do, some kids just like aren't as athletic. And some of these parents, I mean, wherever you go, like, who are you going to get, though, to coach 12 and 13-year-olds? Like, you're not going to get a professional coach. So, of course, you're going to get dad coaches.
Right.
And we're coming from a town who the team actually went to a Little League World Series, 7 years ago, 8 years ago? I forgot the year. But so that's like the big talk, So every year's the year. Kind of like the Boston Cubs thing, but every year's a year. And don't get me wrong, there's some talent here, which is crazy in a small town of Petaluma, 50,000 guys. There's 3 different little leagues, which makes no sense.
Wow, that's a lot of teams.
Yeah, so they split it up, American, National, and Valley within, 10 miles, not even.
Yeah.
So it's a big little league community, and it's a big baseball town. And there's been some big guys that come out of here. There's going to be Vaughn went last year. Andrew Vaughn, he's up 20 minutes up the road, and guy Spencer Torkelson this year, who's from Petaluma, will probably be a top 5 pick this year in the draft. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be some guys that came out of here. The Gomes brothers came out of here. So it's a baseball rich town. So it's easier to get that started.
Okay. And what age groups do you do? Are there teams at every age group or every level, both baseball and softball, or is it more geared towards softball?
More geared softball.
Yeah.
I run the softball team. Yeah. It's hard to run baseball teams here because, it's already established.
Yeah.
I basically do one team right now. It's like a 13U.
Okay.
And then when we started the travel thing, I started coaching softball when I moved here. Mm-hmm. 4 years ago, which I never have. I adapted a little bit. I think I'm okay.
Yeah, but of the 5 girls we started with, 4 of them went to college.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, good.
So he's like getting kids in college that they just happen to be girls. Yeah,
we have a pretty good rate as far as putting girls in college, which is always nice when you run a travel ball team. But when we first started, we had a 10s, 12s, 14s, 16s, and 18s. Yeah, and it was a lot just because your name's on the product, and every coach is not what they seem to be. A coach on paper is a lot different than in person.
And also, like, I like to run things.
And she's a boss, and she doesn't like anything, unless it's her way, the Arizona way. So.
Well, no, that's not necessarily true. But I mean, when you're coached by the best and you're around the best, why wouldn't you want to do things how they do things?
Right. So, are you guys coaching and doing teaching how does the week work with you guys?
So, like, Monday through Friday, we'll give lessons. We try to take one day off. I'll take just to be with our kids because we have 3 boys.
Right.
And we coach on the weekends. So, like, this summer, I think we're gone. We would go down to LA for a weekend, and then with our 18s team. Then we come home for maybe 4 days, leave for Portland, straight from Portland, go to Colorado for like a week-long softball tournament, come back, and then we have another LA tournament. But I mean, we coach at the level where like this is either get them to college or they don't play again. So.
Yeah, Right now we have 3 teams, a 14s, a 16s, and an 18s.
And they're all at the level to be recruited.
And me and her are coaching the 18s together. I'm the assistant.
Okay.
So. But I have been fired before.
Oh, really? You got your job back?
I fired him last year.
I was the head coach last year for the 18s, and she was with the 16s. And she didn't like some of the stuff I do, but I had.
You got to win in that program, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And we did okay. We did well. This year we should be good again, but it's tough to tell with everything going on what the caliber of play is going to be
also you don't like taking directions from me.
I also for all the guys out there, I work with my wife, and then I go home and I see my wife. So I love her to death, want to marry her, but 24/7's a lot for one person, regardless if she's a girl or not.
For sure.
It's just a lot. And then also business stuff comes home. On the field, she gets a third. I want her to be a little more aggressive sometimes. And, that turns into an argument. So it's fun majority of the time, but it's a lot, though.
And you guys came from different coaching backgrounds, too. Like, you've both seen way different paths of sports,
Yeah, like I'm more like more like up in everyone's face during the whole practice, like trying to teach everything. And Tom's just like, yep, good job.
Well, she also came from, going to college with one coach who's successful, and I believe in him also. But I played 11 years in the minors. I had 11 different hitting coaches, 11 different managers. I've seen a lot of different people, and good and bad. But I try to take little, bits and pieces from everybody that I've had and try to put it into one. But I'm more calm as far as teaching. She's more in your face, hands on, but I'll be the first to get an umpire's face. I'll tell you that one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Sit back. If you see it, you got to get up if there's a bad call for sure. Yeah.
And it's funny to see these guys in girls softball, like the way they act, and they were all Americans and, disgusting bodies. So it's pretty funny. Yeah, all the male head coaches.
Oh, yeah. No. What's it like dealing with the parents on the side of things?
We actually are very lucky now. We have a really good group of parents now. But like Tommy said, we started with 6 teams, and it's just 6 different. I mean, that's how many, like, say they have 12 kids on each team times 6. Like, that's just a lot of different people looking out for their kid, which that's what they're supposed to do. But one of the reasons why I chose not to.
It never gets easier. You can get tricked just like a coach,
No, but I think what we've learned the most is definitely like we're very old school. Like, we don't communicate with the parents. We communicate with the kids only. If the parents have a question for us, then there's a way that they go about it. But I feel like we've been really transparent with the parents, and we've communicated differently with the kids. And as long as the parents feel like they're getting communicated to, or like at least in the loop, they'll leave you alone for the most part. And like we've said, like, if you don't believe in us, like, please just go, because I'm not changing how we're doing for you guys.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. Do you guys have like a lot of colleges starting to go to you for players now? Do you have any contacts that way?
Actually, yeah. So we used to run a program called NorCal Bownet, and Bownet makes like those nets and balls and all different kinds of sports equipment. It was wonderful. They were a great starting point for us. But we actually just switched over to a program called Athletics Mercado, and his daughters, actually one played at Oregon, one played at Arizona, Mo Mercado. And since we made that transition and from being around, like, dude, it's crazy. Like, colleges are emailing us, sending us what they need, just reaching out to us.
They're based out of Southern California.
Oh, okay.
Their 18U was one in the nation last year.
Yeah, they won it.
So it's a pretty talented pool. So having that name on the chest definitely helps pool players maybe get a bigger name. But we also run a camp at the end of the year called NorCal Exposure Camp, and we bring 6 to 7 college coaches in. Sam brings some of her friends and college coaches in. So it's a 2-day camp with 6, 7 coaches there with eyes on you. So we've definitely gained some relationships with colleges, with First 7, probably 4 or 5 years now, just sending girls to different schools, so we've gotten relationships with other schools, and Sam still knows a bunch of girls that coach and play. And I actually have one of my first softball coach contacts. He's a male coach, so it's pretty fun to have that. He was actually a baseball coach his whole life, and now he's assistant at FSU.
Oh, yeah.
So he was
the Florida boys.
Yeah, FSU. Yeah. So he was a USA coach, had a good program in Florida and stuff like that. A big name, first rounder out of high school. So now he's a softball coach. It's pretty funny. We're trying to get that Florida State California connection going.
Yeah. Nice. Have you guys sent anybody to U of A, Arizona yet?
I wouldn't say we sent anybody. My cousin just actually graduated from the softball team there.
Okay.
She was our first big one, but she kind of did it on her own, because I was in college when she was getting ready to go. So.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it was kind of cool because she wore 33 also and played first. So.
Coach
there you go.
Coach likes to recruit in that SoCal area.
Yeah.
He doesn't leave too far from there.
There's a lot of talent down here, like it's good.
A lot of people down there.
Well, yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
I think we saw 5 recruits one time on one team from to Arizona. And
wow.
Deja, who's USA, So they were good.
Yeah. They call it Arizona Junior High.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tommy, I wanted to ask you since we both played in the minors, we've been to a lot of cities. What was your favorite city to play in?
I like Birmingham, Alabama in AA.
Yeah.
My best year was in Winston-Salem, so I always like Winston-Salem.
Of course.
Remember the numbers, and had two roommates that were pretty good also. We did well. We went to the playoffs, went pretty far, didn't win it, but that was one of my funner years. And then one of my last years, I was in Canada, up in Edmonton, and we won it all that year. We had a good team, so that was that was kind of my last hurrah, and I knew it. So it was that was a pretty fun year. But as far as like people and atmosphere, I really like Birmingham.
Why?
Okay.
Just the town being in the South. It's weird, but they knew baseball. It was a baseball town. At the time we were there, it was in Hoover, Alabama, and the show came out 2 a day for Hoover High football.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big sports town. The area was nice, It was a big park. Pitchers loved it. I didn't mind it, but I just liked the atmosphere, and the Southern League was a good league for competition also.
I played in Mobile, so we played in Birmingham and Montgomery and all those places.
What's Mobile? The affiliate of Mobile.
Hot.
It's really, yeah. It was the Diamondbacks for a little while, and now it's changed. They change like every 3 or 4 years, I think. Some of these.
What year were you in Mobile?
I was there 2012 and 13. Yeah. So
I was there, I think 06, 07 maybe.
Yeah, I was a little bit after you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if you like Birmingham. It was a big place. But
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah.
Was it the new stadium then? Not yet.
I didn't play in the new stadium. The old one. The one that Michael Jordan played in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, actually in real life, too.
Mobile was okay. The stadium was suspect. It just got hot.
Really hot down there. The humidity, I've never played in humidity like that before. It was crazy.
100% humidity. It's tough.
Yeah. What do you think of indie ball compared to regular minor league ball?
Well, I was the guy after, like, I was done with AAA, and I think I got released, and, New Year started, and I'm never going to play indie ball. And then I ended up playing a couple years, and I liked it. It was relaxed. I started off in the Atlantic League for the York Revolution. We had a bunch of ex-big leaguers. One of my boys, Pete Rose Jr.
Oh, okay.
Would have never got to met that guy.
Wow.
He's a good person, and he's a pretty fun guy to be around. So it was more laid back. You're still trying to get signed and stuff, but it was a laid back, and you're playing against a lot of big league names in that Atlantic League in that year, because that was the league to go to get picked back up.
Right.
Just kind of one of those things. I was doing well. I think I was hitting 330 at the All-Star break. I never hit 330 in my life. I was a power guy. And then the agent saying, like, oh, they wanted more big power numbers to sign you. I'm like, I'm just done with this game.
Yeah.
When it just turns into a business. It's not fun anymore. So I didn't mind it. Independent ball. And then when I went to Canada, that was independent ball in Edmonton. And we had a great owner, the guy who owned the Oilers at the time. I played with a guy, Matt Rogelstat, who was in York also, and he's from Canada. And he told me, I'm like, I'm done after this year. I'm going to hang it up, to get signed back, go home. He's like, come up to Canada and come play. It's already this guy's going to call you. Like, he set it all up for me. And basically, a guy called me, and I signed over the phone and went up there. And, I mean, it was a good team. It was more the well-run independent teams I've ever been on, because of the Oilers owner was, had some money. So we weren't, we were actually paying teams to come play us.
Okay. I played in Long Island, so I know the Atlantic League with York and all those other teams. Yeah. It's fun.
The Ducks, yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun place to play. They sold out a ton of games, which is rare for minor league teams, but even for any ball, like, that's all they got over there. So, yeah, it was cool. I like that league. It was fun.
It wasn't bad travel either.
No, not too bad.
Minor league, I never got to play, but the Sally League was bad. There's a couple leagues.
How do you know that? People just talk about it?
Well, that was
Like,
that was my affiliation. Low A was Kannapolis, and I was supposed to go there, but I ended up skipping and going to High A, so I never played there. But I also don't think I'm cocky. I also played 3 years of rookie ball, so I almost retired then also.
It can happen. It's tough. If you're not like the guy that sometimes that they're pushing, no matter how well you do, you just can't move, you know?
So for pro guys who know, I went through 2 extended spring training.
Okay.
17 years of college.
With all the young Latin guys and the injured guys. It's tough. That's mentally, that is tough. Like just to stick with that and keep playing.
10:30, 11 a.m. games because it's in the summer and it's in Phoenix. It's gonna be 110.
I remember going to one of those games.
So yeah, about 4 to 5 fans, maybe 5 scouts.
Yeah.
Not too exciting.
Man. I wanted, just because of the time right now that we're in, what's it like doing virtual lessons with your kids?
At first it was kind of weird, but now we've kind of like figured out how to do it, and it's definitely going to be something that we continue to do at when all this stuff is over. When I say this stuff is over, when we're actually allowed to go back around other humans, it's just going to be a lot easier for me to keep in touch with what my players are actually doing. So that's one good thing that's come out of it is the ability to keep in touch with them via video or, actual live feeds. So it's been okay, but I mean, there's only so much you can do with them. Like half the time, like they're so bored of hitting off a tee, they just want front toss or anything coming at them. So they're like, "Do you have any ideas?" I'm like, "Yeah, go find a rock, have someone throw it at you, and that's what you can do." But I mean
yeah, I think the virtual lessons are pretty good for younger kids. The older kids want to see some front toss and live in a lesson. We can talk about hands and legs and stuff through video and stuff like that. But majority of the lessons I see are probably 14 and under.
Or I would say the more productive ones have actually been the fielding ones.
Yeah.
Because you can show them different kinds of like hand movements or transfers or some different kind of fielding trick or something more than like kind of what you can do with hitting, because sometimes I can see it from different angles where like I'm only looking like sideways to them, or I'll see it maybe in front toss. So I definitely think that the fielding lessons have been more productive because you can give them homework too, and then they can go and do it. They can do stuff by themselves, throw shit up against a wall, or like hitting. You only got so much, but it's been okay.
That's good. At least you guys are somewhat surviving through this or making it work.
And I can just give a lesson like this. Like right now, you don't even know I have pants on. And I can do a lesson.
Don't worry.
There you go. Exactly. I was going to, how many coaches do you guys have and what's your staff like?
Well, it's me and Tommy for the 18s, and then we have a girl named KK Frande. She played for Utah, actually. I think she graduated 3 years ago. She's from the town up the street, and then her boyfriend, it's kind of like the younger version of me and Tom.
There are minor
there you go. You're growing them to take over.
Yeah. Because one day we want to go back to Florida.
Yeah.
So it's her and him, and then we have 2 of our college girls actually. They come back and like we run the team in the spring, and then they come back and coach them in the summertime. But it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this summer. I hope we get the go ahead soon. The governor and they're saying that we're going to be shut down, but then it comes down and they keep saying, no, it's up to the county, it's up to the mayor, it's up, the city jurisdiction has more power than like the bigger entities. So all up to them and what they feel comfortable with, but it's also up to like the parents and who's the germaphobes and, who's an essential worker and doesn't feel comfortable putting people at risk and what can the precautions be. So
yeah.
We shall see.
What's it like with the high school coaches? You have the kids during their season, right? And then they also have to play their high school season. I'm sure it's always, I've seen it a lot with a lot of these facilities that's a back and forth with the high school coaches.
Well, I played at Petaluma and I was, player of the year, whatever, all everything when I was in high school. Obviously it's a smaller town, so it's easier to have those accolades maybe than some other people, but
no, they're talking about how do we go.
No, listen, I have a good relationship with that coach because I was like his
right.
Good, right? So he loves me, and also I love him. But then the other coaches, they just kind of think that I'm here to like ruin their kids, and I'm like, no, I'm here to keep an eye on them and make sure they're doing the things they need to be doing, because when they come back to me, they're like injured or have been doing the wrong things for too long, and we just,
Well, so here's a thing that happened a couple years ago. I was a high school coach up here when I first moved here, and one of the guys out of my team was really good, committed to Oregon. He hit with another hitting instructor, and I was the hitting coach in the high school team. And I told him, I just don't want to work with you because I feel like me and our style is totally different. And I'm just going to mess you up even more. So still talking about, as being there every day with him, still talking about pitch selection and, what to do and stuff like that. But mechanic wise, I couldn't really get with him because he was getting taught a totally different, it's kind of a rotational type swing that I don't teach. So that happened. But just in general, going through guys throughout the season, they feel more comfortable in a one-on-one setting, and you're not their high school guy, so you're not chewing them out, and they could talk to you about stuff. But there's also high school coaches who have a lot of good stuff to say. They just maybe don't know how to put it in that kid's terms and dumb it down a little bit for some of these kids. It gets too technical. But we definitely have our critics out there for sure to the high school level.
Yeah, and some high school, not every high school coach, most of them barely have college experience, right? Or if they're lucky, some minor league experience. So they feel like you're going to, even though you're at a higher level, they don't want you to undermine them, what they're teaching, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's like, it comes down to like an ego thing. Like, they don't want you to undermine them. But it's like, but I'm supposed to know more than you. I'm a girl. You couldn't have possibly made it to my level because you're a boy. I'm here to help you. So, I mean, the longer we've been doing it, the more we've kind of found ways to like not go at it so much, but everyone's always got something to say.
Yeah, no, I hear you. For both of you guys, what do you prefer better, more the coaching, just in-game stuff, or the teaching side where you're breaking stuff down with kids and helping them get better?
Personally, I like to be on the field. I like to see results. Yeah. In the cage, you can see, I think Sam's more of a cage girl and one-on-one. I'm out in the open because in the past,
team coaching.
I've seen some terrible hitters in the cage and then just like get it done on the field and just like, it's ugly, but you can get it done.
They're gamers when the lights are on.
Yeah, the minors, they talk about this guy's hitting a soft 300. I mean, 300 is 300. So, yeah, if he gets a couple more broken bat flares than you do, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Tommy and I think differently, though, about that kind of stuff. Because, like, I look at it like a kid and I see, okay, the technical side and how I can make them better. And then he thinks about, like, the other side that maybe I did naturally that I didn't think about, like the hitting 300, like with stuff dropping or whatever. I'm like, I don't think about the game like that. But it's good because I feel like our players are getting both sides of it.
Yeah.
It's always better to play in a game. I love playing a game. All that, the butterflies and the juices. No matter how old you get, it's always more fun to compete in a game-like setting.
Definitely.
But after you've gotten the fundamentals and you know how to do it.
Sure, of course. Everyone needs it. Everyone can get better, so that's why they go to you guys, right? Yeah.
For sure.
One of the last things I want to get to about, because I know you've been posting about mental health a little bit lately, Sam, I think, and I wanted to get your thoughts on kind of, do you guys do anything with your players with that, or when you have that one-on-one time, do you talk to them about that kind of stuff, about sports psychology and all that, how to see the game differently?
I think it's super important, and I definitely wish that we would have explored that more before we actually got to college. I know that was provided for us, but I also felt like, I don't know, I grew up playing baseball, so it wasn't really talked about. It was more like toughen up and just get it done. Like, it doesn't matter what you're thinking in your head type thing. Like, if you're thinking, you're soft. But now, especially being a girl, like, I make my girls have good hair before they play because as girls, like, we feel good, we play good. So if that's not a mental indicator right there about what they need, I definitely think it's awesome. We don't really I think that we don't be like, hey, this is a sports mental health teaching moment, but definitely we try to relate to our kids. Like,
yeah, I think
I'm sure you do it like while in the moment.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And also just not being just a coach,
Yeah.
Having them come to stuff off and on the, off the field also, which with the girls with me does not happen, by the way. Sam gets everything, but I want to be there off the field and we can talk about, the pressure situations of just being a teenager, in general. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously with guys, I can talk to them more of that, and she handles the girls and stuff like that. But I'm still gonna tell them. That's the thing. One thing I have to relax on is my mouth, because being around girls all the time. I don't sugarcoat anything. I may curse more than your average guy. The mental side is definitely a big part of the game nowadays, just because I think there's almost too much information as far as the internet on hitting, pitching, throwing. I mean, there's 15 different ways to tie your fucking shoe now.
Right.
So it's just, there's so much information. I think kids just get, and then too, if they're not going to D1, they're terrible in their mind, so getting that out of there. 0 for 3, hey, Johnny, you're the best today. It's okay, So there's just different sides for that.
We've definitely been like a little bit more aware and like heightened about their mental health right now too, just because like our seniors, they had worked so hard, and some of these girls, like, they were literally late bloomers. We got our hands on them. I mean, Tommy coached them for a year, but before that they had other coaches. So, we got them later in their careers, and then all of a sudden, bam, 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 like one verbal to St. Mary's gets a scholarship, bam, like that year. Then we get another girl, then she gets another scholarship. So now our girls are like getting ready to continue to go to college, and they're like, the girls that aren't signed, like, do we even have anything to look forward to? We just got our senior year taken away. Are we going to even be there in the fall? What about the juniors? They don't know what's going on. NCAA just gave everyone an extra year of eligibility. Are they going to be, able to even have a spot? Is there going to be money left for those girls that don't have any money? If they don't have anything to look forward to, like, I'm looking at them through like our Zoom meetings that we have, and they're just like hopeless. There's nothing for them to hold on to right now. And it's like, okay, I get it. Like, scientists and, the president, like, they have to run things the way that they have to run them. And I'm not by no means an expert on that, but like a little bit of hope goes a long way. And I just feel like hasn't really been any talk about the athletic world. Obviously people think like, oh, it's just athletics, but it's not just athletics for some kids. It's their way out of their situation. It's their way out of their home, whatever it may be. And now they don't really have that to look forward to. So I try to be well aware of them and check in with them more often, find different ways to motivate them, give them things to do so they feel like they're working towards something. But like, we're creeping up on almost 2 months of them not doing anything, especially together as athletes. Like, what's your out? You go to practice. I throw a million fucking miles an hour because I'm pissed. Well, now I can't do that because I have nobody to play with. So they have no outlet. So I think a lot of coaches right now are just on heightened alert about their players.
For sure. And no one's going to know this has never happened before.
No.
So how could you guys know the answers, But
I was telling someone the other day, I'm like, you don't understand. Sports never stops, even through wars, 9/11. The only day that sports isn't around is on the ESPYs. Now we're going how many months? Like, it's weird.
There's professional baseball in Taiwan right now, so
yeah. So there's hope.
It's a good sign. No fans, but they're playing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's something.
Slowly get down. We're really going to see what happens here when Georgia gets going. South
Texas
Carolina
just opened.
Full bore Monday, so hopefully that'll be a good sign. But if we got to do stuff on the summer side with just scouts or a couple seats away and one pair per person or whatever it is.
I think this week all of the different like entities of like the different softball entities, USA, USSSA, PGF, they are coming together to produce like their plan to come back and how they're going to do it. So I think they're models, they say. So we should be hearing about those in the next couple of weeks. But I know like not hearing anything sometimes is like, oh my gosh, like, is there an end to this?
It's got to be coming soon. It's I don't know. I get the sense.
Money left.
Yeah.
I look at the business side and just how long the economy go and.
What about these like big business guys that own these? Like, you're telling me you can't put social like distancing like things into play?
Can you guys can apply for the small business loan, right, or anything like that?
Yeah,
we applied for that. We applied
did.
for
We got denied.
unemployment. Haven't got that yet.
I haven't got a whole lot. Pretty much zero.
Well, this is a perfect last thing then. How can we help you guys out or, help the business?
I mean, one of our lessons, so sweet, she set up a GoFundMe, and it's mostly just for us to try to cover our utilities and our rent and overhead, basically, for the building that's not really doing anything.
Sure.
And then obviously, instead of just giving us money, you can sign up for free, sign up for virtual lessons. So then at least we're giving you something for your money, because we would love to be able to do something for that.
I'll tell you what, you don't even have to be living in your area. Virtual lessons can go anywhere, right? So maybe we can get you some kids from all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done some Florida kids back and forth.
Yeah.
That I had before and done actually a girl who played baseball up to her junior year in high school, and then all of a sudden got signed by Ball State to play softball. So it was pretty cool.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what's the best place we can find you, or anybody can find you guys?
You can go to our Facebook, Bases Loaded West Coast, Sam Bannister, Tommy Collaro, or I think you can find us on Instagram, Bases Loaded West Coast, and send us messages, ask us questions.
Yeah, the website for the facility is basesloadedwestcoast.net, just to see information and little blogs about us and what we do in general.
All right. Well, I'll make sure I post the link and try to help you guys out. Yeah. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to catching up with you guys soon.
All right.
Thanks.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.